So, in my island update for this week, I'm going to be talking about potential new restrictions to your Mallorca holiday. I also have an update for you about the air traffic control strike action as well, which is programmed for this week. We're not quite out of the woods with that one, so keep watching into this video. Plus, we've got news of some amazing events taking place on the island, as well as the cruise news and the all-important weather forecast for the week ahead. But you can see I'm starting this video over here in the Food and Netta Cafe. And I have to say, I've not seen it this busy all summer. So for all you doomers and gloomers thinking that no one's coming back to Mallorca again, well, I think that these final 2 months of the summer season are really going to buck the trend for tourism over here on the island. Magaluf is looking busy today. But anyway, more about that in maybe another video. But in the meantime, we're going to start off by taking a look at a headline that I saw in the Daily Express this weekend. And they said, Spain panic over new rule as fears erupt, tourists will abandon holiday hotspot. Well, there's nothing like a really clickbait headline here to make you wonder about what's going on over here in Spain. However, it's regarding smoking, and it's regarding a new draft amendment to an existing law which proposes a full outright ban of smoking in bar, restaurants and cafe terraces, and that means the seating that lies outside the bars, cafes and restaurants. And it's not just limited to smoking cigarettes, it also applies to vaping as well. So any form of smoking, this is what it applies to. So how's this going to affect you and your holiday? Well, in reality, and maybe it's just me, but when I go out with my friends, those of my friends who smoke, even though some of the restaurants that we do go in and they do have like the outside terrace areas, they will just get up, leave the table and go and have a cigarette, and they'll just walk a few paces away, have a cigarette, and then they'll come back again. But then again, is it going to be that bad if it means that you just stand up and step a few steps away from a restaurant and have your cigarette there? But what else is this going to mean to you as well if you're over here on holiday? It's also going to mean that you can't smoke around your hotel swimming pool, especially when all those sunbeds are all cramped up together as well. You won't be able to smoke around your hotel swimming pool, and maybe you're already seeing no smoking signs. It's probably at the discretion of the hotels, but that will no longer be a thing. So this law as well, it's going to apply to most public spaces as well. And as you know already, we do have a no smoking ban on some of the beaches over here in Mallorca. If you want to know which beaches are no smoking, I will drop a link to an article I wrote all about that in the description text below the video. But once again, no smoking on beaches is at the discretion of any of the municipalities, and you're going to find that most beaches in each municipality will have a no smoking beach. Now I have to say as well that this isn't policed in any way whatsoever. You're going to find it's not policed at all. So if a big ban does come in place in Spain, well, it's going to be once again probably the responsibility of the cafes, bars and restaurants who'll be threatened with enormous fines for anyone caught smoking in their bar and restaurant terraces to actually enforce this, rather than the police going around to enforce it. And like I said, I don't know of anyone that's been fined for smoking on the beach, but most people do tend to respect the no smoking flags that are out on many of Mallorca's beaches. And there are the pros and cons to an outright ban. The pros are completely obvious. I don't need to explain those to you, but there are some cons to an outright ban. And it's not just about tourism, because I'm pretty sure that many of the bars and the restaurants would be worried about local people, about residents coming in to their bars and restaurants and not being able to smoke, and therefore maybe staying at home or using private homes and gardens to smoke and meet with their friends rather than supporting the local businesses. So the Hostelería de España, who are the Spanish Hospitality Business Confederation, they represent the hospitality industry. They have voiced concerns about the negative impact that this would have on tourism, and also, locally too, particularly in tourist areas like this, because it would mean that Spain would be the only country in Europe, apart from Sweden, demanding this outright ban on smoking in public areas. But then again, sometimes countries do need to be trailblazers, and will Spain, have the guts to do this? Is this going to be a risk worth taking? I don't know. Also the environmental impact as well, because obviously if people get up to leave a bar and the restaurant, then they're going to dump their cigarettes maybe on the street, maybe places where they shouldn't be. And we do see that there are various drains around Mallorca as well. You'll see it where there's a little sign that says that the sea starts here. Please never throw a cigarette butt into a drain, because well, that will basically end up into the sea, and it's not great for the environment at all. Also, as well, when I moved to Mallorca in 2005, you could actually even smoke in the workplace. It was absolutely crazy, and it took a good year of me being here for that to get stopped. So, you know, the whole no smoking thing, it's taken quite a while, and whether they go for this all-out ban, I'm not sure. And it wasn't until, I think it was 2011, when they did actually have a ban on indoor smoking. And also, before you go and hit the keyboards as well, with your thoughts about this, just bear in mind that once upon a time, there was also a time when you could smoke aboard planes as well, and when they proposed an outright ban on smoking on planes and on flying, everyone said this is going to be terrible for tourism, you know, don't do it, it's going to have a terrible impact on tourism. Yet here we are, all flying and not being able to vape or smoke. And if you go back and watch my previous video from Palma Airport flying to Bristol, I did have a conversation with easyJet cabin crew, and they told me all about what happens if you do vape on the flight. So I'll drop a link to that section of the video in the description text below. Go and watch that and see how much it'll cost you as well if you do vape aboard a flight. But it's not to say as well that things will be so heavily policed over here, because like I said, it's not already. We're yet to receive parliamentary approval on this law change. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I can't wait to read it. And also, would an outright ban be a complete deal breaker for you guys coming over here on holiday? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, moving on, I want to give you an update about the air traffic control strikes. If you've seen my video published on Friday talking about air traffic control strikes taking place in French airspace on the 18th and 19th of September, well, I do have some temporary good news about that. And that is that according to French news, and due to political turmoil in France, the main union involved in the strike has postponed action until around the 7th to the 9th of October. Bad news is that it has been extended by a day, and this particular union also accounts for 70% of air traffic control workers. Now, all the information I gave you in that video on Friday is going to be relevant if you are travelling from the 7th to the 9th of October, and I'll drop a link to that video in the description text below. If you are travelling on those dates, go and watch it. But we are not out of the woods just yet, because according to the English-speaking newspaper in France, and it's called sortiraparis.com, they say that on September the 18th, border disruption is still expected. So although the SNCTA union, and that's that really big union, has stepped back, other unions in aviation and transport are maintaining calls for strikes on September the 18th. They go on to say as well that smaller unions within air traffic control, notably the CGT affiliated branch, may still choose to strike, although no confirmation has yet been made. And the article goes on to say that despite this withdrawal, other unions may retain their call for strike action on September the 18th, raising the risk of disruption at airports, particularly Roissy and Orly. But fingers crossed, if this does go ahead, hopefully this won't have too much of an impact over the wider French airspace. Travellers are advised to monitor their airline's communications slowly if flying. Also, as well, a very quick reminder that the Azul airport workers' strikes are still ongoing, and they're going to be ongoing until the end of the year. I'll just give you a quick summary of when these will be taking place as well, because I have been asked. That'll be on the Wednesday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, during 3 Pacific time slots each day between 5 a.m. and 9 a.m, between midday and 3 p.m, and from 9 p.m. until midnight as well. So, so far we haven't seen too much fallout from those Azul strikes at the airports. We do get days of busyness at the airport, but like I always say, no day's the same at Palma Airport, and always expect the worst, hope for the best. So good luck if you're travelling this week, and like I said, just keep up to date with what's happening with your airline, and I'll drop a link to the video I made on Friday below if you haven't yet seen that. Okay, good news. So summer may well be over in Mallorca, although that's hard to believe today because we do have very high temperatures. More about that later. But we do have some fantastic events that are taking place on the islands. I thought I'd just include this as a quick segment into my island update, because one of my favourite restaurants, as you well know, Blackbeard's, just down the walkway here in Magaluf, is holding a charity day on Saturday the 20th of September. All profits made from 1 p.m. till 5 p.m. will be donated to cancer charities. There's going to be a bouncy castle, there's going to be children's entertainment, we're going to have live music, and those musicians as well that are donating their time, they're not being paid to attend. There's a raffle with great prizes. It's going to be a fantastic family day out, so make sure you book your table as well. Also, free to attend, we've got the Habaneras Music Festival in Sawyer Port this weekend, also taking place on the 20th and 21st of September. We've got music with Catalan and Cuban roots. So we've got artists from the island, from Spanish mainland, and also from the Caribbean. So that's free to attend. If you're here on holiday, go and enjoy that. Over in Alcudia as well, they've got a kids event at the far end of Alcudia Beach, right by the port, taking place also on the 20th of September too. So loads going on. I've probably missed out loads of events, but you know what Mallorca's like. No matter when you come over here, there's always going to be some amazing festival, some amazing cultural festival taking place. So make sure you build that into your holiday too. Okay, finally, cruise news. If you're planning your day trip into Palma this week, well, we have, and I can't believe this, some 54,000 cruise ship passengers. I think this is going to even up on the fact we had not very many last week, but it's going to be busy pretty much every day apart from Wednesday. Wednesday does look like the quietest day with no major liners coming into Palma port. The really busy days this week are going to be Friday and Saturday, with 11 and 12,000 passengers arriving respectively. So maybe think about visiting on any of those other days, or indeed try and pop in on Wednesday to have the quietest experience. Okay, as I sit here absolutely melting here on in the Foodinetta Cafe, the weather here is picked up once again. We've got a touch of summer has come right back at us here in September. We've got highs of 31 degrees Celsius this week. We've got lows of 20, evenings that's still lovely and warm. A little bit breezy today on the island, which is very, very welcome. But we've got plenty of sunshine this week, a little bit of clouds as we roll on towards the weekend, with a few showers forecast on Sunday. Watch out for rogue showers though, if you're out and about around the island. I got caught in one on Friday over in Puerto Poyensa. It caught me completely by surprise, and it wasn't forecast either, but that's just the nature of coming over here in September. We do get these sporadic showers around the island. Anyway, everyone, I'm going to be out and about around the island. I've got plenty of content coming out this week. Don't forget to check back on my live stream from Alcudia yesterday as well. Just recovering from that, and I do have some recorded content from over there too. In the meantime, I'm going to drop a couple of videos appearing both here and here on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and don't forget you can also find me on Facebook and on Instagram too. Thanks very much for watching, everyone, and I shall see you on the next one. Goodbye for now.